Well, good afternoon everyone and welcome back to my channel. I'm Debbie from Debbie's World and it's time for another Slimming World recipe. So I'm going to do another recipe from one of my favourite books, which is the Slimming World Eat More for Less book, which is available in your Slimming World group for £4.95, or sometimes you can get them off eBay, but you will be charged more. And you can, if you're a member, you can also buy them from the online shop on the Slimming World website. I have had a few questions about where to get the book from. So on page 45 is a beef and sweet potato frittata, and that's how it looks. So what you'll need for this recipe is one large sweet potato, peeled and finely sliced. I've just got two here to make sure I've got enough, and they're not massive sweet potatoes. So one or two sweet potatoes, low calorie cooking spray, which is your fry light, a red pepper, de-seeded and sliced, a large leek, thinly sliced, 500 grams of lean beef mince, 5% fat or less, a teaspoon of paprika, a teaspoon of garlic granules, a teaspoon of dried mixed herbs, 2 tablespoons of tomato puree, 8 large eggs, so we've got some eggs there, and 50 grams of reduced fat cheddar cheese, coarsely grated. So I've just got some grated Morrison's 30% lighter mature cheddar. There you go. So the description is, this fun midweek meal is like a giant burger crossed with a pizza with a hint of hot pot, and it's perfect for feeding a hungry horde. So it serves 6, it's 1.5 sins per serving, that's for the cheese. So you could leave that out if you wanted, or to make it sin free, or what I'm going to do actually is count it towards my healthy extra A allowance, and it's ready in 1 hour. So the first thing we need to do is peel and slice the sweet potato. So kindly assisted by my wonderful assistant Andrew, I have some lovely slices of sweet potato, and I'm now going to drop them in a pan of boiling water. I have put some salt in for about 3 minutes, it says, or until tender. So boil those sweet potato slices, and then we need to chop the pepper and leek. So I've now taken the sweet potato off the boil and I'm just draining it. It's here, look, it was on probably a little bit more than 3 minutes, but that's absolutely fine. So that's the sweet potato slices, and then I've got my large oven-proof frying pan, and I'm just going to turn the heat up a little bit. I've sprayed it with fry light, and I'm just going to fry off the pepper, which, as you can see, I've just chopped up. So in with the pepper you want some water, about 2 tablespoons of water. That will be absolutely fine. And then, excuse me a moment, we need to cover that with a lid and cook it for a few minutes. The peppers have been cooking for a few minutes, so I'm now going to add the sliced leek. Somebody at the door! So I've just put the leek in. That'll be our Amazon delivery. And we want to cook that for a further few minutes. So while the peppers and leeks are cooking off, I'm just going to break 8 eggs into a jug and season with salt and pepper and beat them so they're ready to be added when that step comes along. So my vegetables have been cooking for a few minutes, and once they are tender and the water's evaporated, you want to set them aside on a plate. So I've just got a plate here, and then pop your saucepan back on the heat. Spray with a bit more fry light. Just get this back on. That's it. And then you want to grab hold of your lean mince and fry that off. So just fry it for a few minutes, break it up and fry it and brown it all off. So at this stage you want to preheat your oven to 180 degrees. My mince has been cooking for a few minutes and we need to add the spices. You can see it's all nicely browned off. The recipe does say to drain any excess fat, but there doesn't seem to be much from this Morrison's minced beef, so I'm going to leave that as it is. So I'm going to add a teaspoon of paprika. For me that's just a shake. A teaspoon of garlic granules and a teaspoon of mixed herbs. I'm going to give that a good stir and cook it for another couple of minutes. So once you've added your herbs and cooked that for a further minute, you then want to add your tomato puree. So it says 2 tablespoons. So we'll give that a couple of good squeezes. That will be plenty. So, and then you want to put your leek and pepper back in. And then it says to season lightly, so we'll add a bit more salt and pepper, as well as adding that to the eggs. And then we'll give it another good stir. Right, so when you're happy with your mix in the pan, which is your mince, your herbs and spices, your tomato puree, your pepper and leek, you just want to flatten it on the base of the pan. Remember your oven's preheating. You want to take your sweet potato and layer that over the top. Can you see that? So just continue with layering the sweet potato on the top of the mince mixture. Once you've laid your sweet potato on top, like so, mine's not looking the best, but I probably overboiled it a little bit, but I'm sure it'll be absolutely fine. You want to take your mixture of 8 eggs, beaten, and pour evenly. You can see it disappears into the mixture. Bit of shell there. And then I'm just going to level it out a little bit. And then don't forget, this must be a oven friendly pan. Slide the pan into the oven, which you'll have been preheating for at 180 degrees, and cook for 35 minutes. So I shall see you then. So this is the frittata after it's been in the oven for 35 minutes. Please remember that your handle will be very hot and don't burn yourself like I've just done. And then if you're adding your cheese, which will be the sins in the recipe, we've got 50 grams of reduced fat grated cheddar. I'm just going to sprinkle that over the top. And then we're going to put it back in the oven for another 5 minutes just to melt the cheese. You can see there that the frittata is coming away from the edges of the pan, so we know that it's done. But we will just put it back in for a few minutes just to melt the cheese. Here is the finished frittata with the cheese melted, and I think you'll agree we're not that far off the finished product. So I will serve this up with my evening meal and show you how I'm going to eat it. And that again is on page 45 of the Eat More for Less recipe book. And here is the beef and sweet potato frittata plated up into a meal. So that's a sixth of it, as suggested that it serves 6. So that will be 1.5 sins for the cheese, or for me it's part of my Healthy Extra A. I've got some more sweet potato and carrot chips, and a salad, green leaves, pickled onions, peppers, tomatoes and cucumber. And I think it looks absolutely delicious. So thank you very much for watching, and do let me know if you make it.